Yo, what's going on? Today I'm going to show you guys how to level your beats. This should be pretty helpful if you're a beginner and you don't know much about leveling and you can't figure out why your track may not sound so good, or like how loud certain elements in your beat should be. Or even if you're an intermediate advanced person and you're just looking at a different person's point of view on how they personally level their tracks. This is a pretty quick and easy method. I kind of just go by numbers, but I also use obviously my ear to tell if something should be louder or more quiet, but I'll break it down as I go. So I always like to start mixing with my melody. This is just a pretty simple beat. I pulled up something simple I made a little bit ago just to kind of relate to most people. I didn't want to do like a different kind of like super dark like R&B beat with like a lot of filtering or something like super poppy, something that's you're gonna mix different than a normal rap beat. So this is just a simple generic rap beat. So I like to start with my melodies, and generally I like to have my melodies sit around -27 to -24 range. So I'll just start pulling it up. This is like a pad sound. And this is like the lead ARP in the track. So I'm gonna make this one a little bit louder than the pad. Just kind of an element. That's just an element I'd want a little louder than the pad. So then this is the main melody of the track. So I'm gonna make this one probably the loudest, but it also depends. Just stick within like the 24 to 27 range. You can push it to 21 sometimes. You also just gotta trust your ear. Like, I think that sounds nice. It kind of sits above all the other sounds. So then I moved on to my clap. I like to keep my claps around like -12 to -9. So then for hi-hats, I like to have them in a similar range as the melody. So like -21, -18 maybe. So that sounds good to me. And then your perks also around like -15, -18. And I like to save my kicks and 808s and basses for last, so I can really hear all the other elements of the beat without focusing too much on like the sub frequencies or that kind of clashing with all the other sounds. So for open hats, it depends how loud you want them, but usually for me, I like to kind of keep them around the same level as my melodies. So I'm just going to do that. I think that's good. It's in the background. It sits nicely. And then this is just a transition sound. Really, you just go by ear with these two. And then for 808s, I like to throw these around -15. Again, it also depends how loud and present you want your bass to be, but I find this works for most genres, most sounds, and it kind of lets you have some room without it over distorting your low end. And then kicks are the loudest part of my track. I like to push these pretty high, probably around -6 if possible. So I'm just gonna mess with it and see. So I think it sounds good at -3 there. So I also have a sub bass that I made with this, so I'm just gonna pull that in real quick and mute the 808 and mess with that. Similar to the 808, around -15, I think usually works best. So yeah, that's how I level my beats. I like to level them at pretty low levels because I throw a pretty heavy mastering effect on there. So once I throw on my master, this is how it sounds. You can really push it and it sounds pretty clean. Again, you really do have to try to trust your ear for these. Use this as a general guideline, kind of maybe write down the levels I told you to put stuff at, but also feel free to not take my advice. You know, mixing and leveling your beats is kind of like a stylistic thing and an art, and you'll develop your own habits, but I hope this just kind of gives someone who's maybe new or looking for a new technique just like a baseline to kind of go off of. So hopefully you found some tips in this video helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.